where we are sitting in Delhi, in 2019, there was a study that every third child in Delhi has damaged lungs. We have the laws and they are good laws. The problem is enforcement and the implementation. Without challenging the laws, जो कानून है उसको क्यों नहीं implement करा जा रहा? अगर हम कह रहे हैं कि waste segregate होना है, it's a 2016 के bylaws हैं, आज 2023 हो गए, तो अगर आप 7 सालों में हम उसको implement नहीं कर सके, so this is the contempt of God. So urgency means that please penalize the rich and incentivize the underprivileged. So you have to come to that. So much advocacy has been done there. Everything is on the Google. आपने पोस्टर भी बना दिए, बैनर्स भी लगा दिए, बहुत बड़े होर्डिंग्स भी लगे हुए. So all that is done with. Why do you segregate in Singapore and Sweden, and why you don't do it in India? We don't want plans. We want action. It's okay to have policies and laws when we say, okay, fine, we with respect we honor those laws, but please implement them. That's what we need to demand, local authorities. And you know that, okay, I have like you said, a tree is being cut. Okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is where I can complain. This is where I can send an email, or this is where I can tweet. This is where I can write. Writing it on a WhatsApp or a Facebook is not going to help anybody.
Hello everybody, this is Chulha and welcome back to another episode of the Climapreneur Show. आज के एपिसोड पे हमारे साथ हैं भवरीन कंधारी, जो एक वॉरियर मॉम है. एक आज मतलब एक मूवी का डायलॉग मारने का बहुत मन कर रहा है. आज मेरे पास बिल्डिंगें हैं, प्रॉपर्टी है, बैंक बैलेंस है, बंगला है, गाड़ी है. क्या है तुम्हारे पास? मेरे पास माँ है. और यही माँ लड़ रही है क्लाइमेट चेंज के लिए, बहुत सारी ऐसी और मदर्स के लिए. एंड आई थिंक आज का एपिसोड काफी इंटरेस्टिंग होने वाला है, जहां हम सबको बहुत ज्यादा हेल्पलेस फील होता है. हम कहते हैं कि हम क्या ही कर सकते हैं, इतनी बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है. I think this lady right here is going to tell you that you have the power to do things. So let's hear it from her. And this episode is produced in collaboration with Wengify Foundation. And in fact, Wengify has sent like a lovely gift for Bhavreen. So I hope she likes it, and let's see how the conversation goes. Welcome Bhavreen ji on the Climapreneur Show.
Thank you so much, Vida.
So Bhavreen, बताइए ना कि मतलब warrior moms क्या है? Like what is it?
Warrior moms is like an endeavor to bring in more voices for clean air, and of course, like you said, what more can be more even more effective than a group of mothers? अगर हम माएं सारे, because हम अपने बच्चों के बारे में हम सब concerned हैं, कोई नहीं है जो अपने बच्चों के लिए अच्छा future, उनकी health के बारे में सोचता है, चाहता है. This is how we are connecting all over the country, and we all have a message of or rather we are striving to bring back clean air for our children.
And कैसे कर रहे हो आप? Like क्या क्या चीजें आप इसके अंदर करते हो? कितनी मतलब मदर्स का ये ग्रुप है?
श्वेता, शुरू तो 3, 4, 5 लोग ऐसे करते हुए ये कोविड के टाइम पे हुआ, क्योंकि हम जैसे मैं हूँ, बहुत सालों से हम क्लीन एयर के स्पेस में काम कर रही हूँ. वैसे ही और भी ऐसे लोग थे जो देख रहे थे, जो कंसर्न थे, जो अपने बच्चों के बारे में कंसर्न थे. तो इस करके दिस इज हाउ इन कोविड वी रियलाइज्ड दैट नाउ वी आर स्टक हियर. द स्काइज वर ब्लू, द वाटर वाज क्लियरिंग अप, there was so much we were getting congratulatory messages from various media and international media saying that wow, but we knew that the moment we're coming back to normal, this is not going to work, but let's take this opportunity as the world's biggest experiment and do something more. So this is I think that brought us all together, and of course social media played a very big role, because we are seeing each other on the social media, and the various states and cities, even cities like Pune, where I thought they were so clean myself. Being in that space, I didn't realize that it was so bad, and so I think that connection, that it's like mothers, they're citizens, ordinary citizens from the ground, who are actually bringing in the real sense of urgency to clean air.
आपको फर्स्ट टाइम कब लगा कि मुझे क्लीन एयर पे काम करना चाहिए?
That goes back to I think 1990s, late 1990s, 2000, and then it became very serious when my girls were born in 2003, twin girls, and they were anyway precious babies, and they were born in the 6th month. it meant that everything had to be very clean. We couldn't do any mistakes, and we could not afford to let them get sick. But there were problems that were showing, and between the travel, from here, from Delhi to other cities and countries, would magically take care of the colds and coughs that they were having, stay with them here. And so I think that was a more of started, that thing of like, no, I need to fight this. We need to find out. पहले तो पता नहीं है कि क्या है, और फिर उसके बाद जब पता है और जो लोग इसके अंदर बदलाव ला सकते हैं वो डिनायल में हैं, तो उनको कैसे प्रभावित करना है, कैसे बोलना है. फिर तीसरा चैलेंज आ गया कि अब तुम तो ऑर्डिनरी सिटीजन्स हैं, हमारे बोलने से कौन सुनेगा. You need the scientists, the doctors, and of course they played a very big role. We all, these are movements, they keep going, and you join hands and you take each other's help, you support each other, and that's how then you come to that, level of, say, government, authority, citizens, policy, everything together.
तो जैसे आपने बताया कि you wanted to do something for your kids, like I think मुझे ऐसा फील होता है कि आपके kids would be like so proud, because मतलब जनरली ऐसा होता है ना कि हम एक प्रॉब्लम देखते हैं, हम सोचते हैं कि मतलब मैं क्या ही कर सकती हूँ उसके बारे में, एंड पीपल जस्ट सिट बैक एंड दे कर्स द सिचुएशन. बट व्हाट यू डिड, you stood up, you did things, you just didn't blame people, you're also taking actions today.
Shweta, I can't say if I did so much, but because we are mostly questioning, we are mostly believe in asking the authorities and the governments to take, because it's their job, they must lead. Of course, when we do so many things. मैं अपना थैला उठाना है, सिपर उठाना है, those things. But you have to understand that this is the whole thing about Warrior Moms. It's an actionable group. Of course, advocacy comes with everything. It's not only advocacy, we are also learning. So much that you learn each day. You can't say कि मैंने 10 साल या 20 साल काम किया तो मुझे सब आता है. It's not going to be like that. How this each thing converts into a demand, because that is what makes the change. After all, it's the lawmakers who will be able to also bring the clean air. So it's as simple as that there are the laws, and there are good laws. We are citizens. I can't make laws. I'm not in the policy. I can't reach there. I can influence it as a citizen. That's one thing we do. And then the secondly is, of course, that we must know the laws. So if the people around us, if you see your neighbors and your family, relatives, unfortunately, we may be, achievers in other professions and fields, but we don't know that, okay, कूड़ा जल रहा है तो क्या करना है मुझको, पेड़ कट रहा है तो क्या करना है, कंस्ट्रक्शन डस्ट की वायलेशन है मेरे नेबरहुड में तो उसके लिए क्या करना है. So this, we make these simple SOPs. I mean, that the state laws are different, and city laws are different. So you make it according to the laws, and just the Warrior Moms take it along and share it with their own communities and their own resident welfare organizations, etc. So that helps you to question your authorities.
I think that's really good. मतलब because होता है कि हम लोग कभी देखते हैं कि पार्क में कूड़ा जल रहा है, मतलब बुरा फील किया, फिर हम सोचते हैं फिर आगे निकल जाते हैं. बट व्हाट यू आर डूइंग इज बिकॉज बहुत लोगों को नहीं पता होता कि ऐसी पॉलिसीज हैं या फिर इसके अगेंस्ट एक्शन ले सकते हैं. एंड देन व्हाट यू आर टेलिंग इज कि आपने उस पॉलिसी को इतना सिंपलिफाई कर दिया है, पीपल कैन रीड, दे नो कि अच्छा ठीक है ऐसा हो रहा है तो हम ये कर सकते हैं. थोड़ा सा एक या दो बताओ कि फॉर एग्जांपल अगर किसी को पेड़ कटता हुआ दिखता है तो क्या कर सकता है.
So अब जैसे दिल्ली में है, there's a tree helpline, you should immediately call there. We also know that the tree helpline was not quick enough, not there's no rapid action in it. So it took us years to take these through the small cases. There's in the Delhi High Court that people are complaining that पेड़ कटा और कोई किसी ने respond नहीं किया, या some other case, and how over the years all these cases were taken. And recently, the High Court asked, the Forest Department to make an SOP. They actually told them the same term they used, and they said, make an SOP to instruct the basic department how they should be reacting. So, whether there's a quick reaction team or the, how the forest guards, what they should be doing. So, I mean, there are so many things that even their own staff doesn't know. So it's such a long battle. Even something as simple as this, make it happen. Now, if you see these apps, there are many apps now that since I think we are doing this SOPs. We many government apps came in, the Swachh app, the Delhi government app, in other cities also. We include those also. We are supporting. We are here to support. After all, we are there for clean air. We are not here to fight the government or anybody else. We are of course pointing out the violations and supporting the governments so that they correct and they find better ways to rectify that. And so we include those apps as well in that, so that everything is there in one place, and that okay, I have a like you said, a tree is being cut. Okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is where I can complain. This is where I can send an email, or this is where I can tweet. This is where I can, write. Writing it on a WhatsApp or a Facebook is not going to help anybody.
That's true. And आपको क्या लगता है इंडियन पॉलिसीज के बारे में जो एनवायरनमेंट पे है या फिर स्पेसिफिकली एयर के ऊपर है? आपको लगता है कि पॉलिसीज अच्छी हैं, और कुछ पॉलिसीज को हाईलाइट करो जो आपको लगता है अच्छी हैं शायद?
श्वेता, इसको सबको एक पैकेज में नहीं डाल सकते कुछ अच्छे हैं या कुछ नहीं है, और who are we to kind of say, but yeah, only because you're asking and saying. So yes, like I said even before, we have the laws and they are good laws. The problem is enforcement and the implementation. Without challenging the laws, जो कानून है उसको क्यों नहीं इम्प्लीमेंट करा जा रहा? अगर हम कह रहे हैं कि वेस्ट सेग्रीगेट होना है, इट्स 2016 के बायलॉज हैं, आज 2023 हो गए, तो अगर आप 7 सालों में हम उसको इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर सके, so this is the contempt of court. Why is it that the authorities have not been able to achieve that? Waste segregation at source is the most important thing. For waste management, solid waste management. So, this is the biggest example. So, anything you're saying without challenging the laws are great. Let's start enforcement. See, now, 20 years ago, it was such a big thing for anyone to, especially politicians, to say no to crackers. Okay, you would get trolled and say, "Oh yes, the problems, the way it's taken." And now, in the last couple of years, we've seen bans by the governments. We've come such a long way from the schools calling, teaching children to ban crackers and not use them. We've come such in 2 decades, but it's come to here now. But how was the implementation? Why? Because there are problems. There are not enough officers. There are not enough. There are vacant posts. The Delhi, the DPCC or the others, CPCB, everywhere there are vacant posts. The forest department doesn't have enough people. They don't have enough equipment. They don't have, so all these things are extremely, important. If you don't have people, how will they go? The apps are not going to be going anywhere to solve anything. It's the real people. You need boots on the ground. And so warrior moms would start first to find out how many vacant posts are there. So you will file RTIs, different states, different cities. We'll all talk. We'll put that together. We'll put the data together. Then we start questioning. Then to the point that we came into the recent winter session, we asked some of the MPs to please question this in the question hour. So we influence there that try to say that, okay, please question this, that why it's not being done. And that's how, you start seeing that little change, and a vigorous move starts, coming. So citizens will have to demand the right things, and that's the way it's going to be happen. Of course, we got to, do the right things, but the onus is not on us. After all, it's the governments who will lead. They will lead and we'll follow.
And any specific, countries outside that you like, that you feel कि इस country से या फिर इस city से India बहुत कुछ सीख सकता है?
Everywhere. उनको हमसे सीखना है, हमको उनसे सीखना है. हर एक के अंदर अच्छाइयाँ हैं, हर एक के अंदर कमियाँ हैं. I was recently seeing this lovely France. So what they're doing is that if you're repairing if you're sewing, जो हमारे इंडिया के लिए तो हर घर की बात है, हम बटन लगाते हैं, हम अपना ठीक करते हैं. तो वो वहाँ पे जो रिपेयर कर रहे हैं उनको बहुत बड़ा फाइनेंशियल बेनिफिट दे रहे हैं उसके ऊपर. सो उन्होंने हमसे सीखा. सस्टेनेबिलिटी तो ये है. असली तो ये है. The repair industry is so beautiful. We've all grown with it. Our mothers and grandmothers have always done this. Maybe we are lost it somewhere along the line. और अगर हमारी जो है और वहां से है तो अब अभी वेस्ट सेग्रीगेशन की बात करी है, स्वीडन में नो सेग्रीगेशन है और कितने सुंदर तरीके से वो करते हैं, पर हमने भी किया हुआ है, इसका सिर्फ नाम वेस्ट सेग्रीगेशन हुआ है क्योंकि यू आर मच यंगर, बट जब हमने देखा है तो हमारी माओ ने और हमारे ग्रैंड मदर्स ने और ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स ने हमेशा गत्ता अलग रखा जाता था,
हाँ।
बोतल अलग रखी जाती थी, लोहे का सामान अलग होता था, सो सिर्फ यहाँ पे तो जो मेन चीज है जो प्लास्टिक, उस टाइम इतना प्लास्टिक नहीं था, अब प्लास्टिक और जो वेट वेस्ट है उसको आप मिक्स कर रहे हैं, और वो अगर आप अलग कर दो तो हम तो ये सब देखा है हमने, but it's just that there's something that is really missing is the push, and that push will have to come from the government, because considering that as you and I speak, my children and you and all the youngsters are breathing the toxicity, so there must be an urgency to it, and that is what is missing. So urgency means that please penalize the rich and incentivize the underprivileged, so you have to come to that. So much advocacy has been done there, everything is on the Google, आपने पोस्टर भी बना दिए, बैनर्स भी लगा दिए, बहुत बड़े बड़े होर्डिंग्स भी लगे हुए, so all that is done with, now the action, why do you segregate in Singapore and Sweden, and why you don't do it in India? That's a question. Why? Because you will be penalized, you're accountable, so that's exactly the way it should be here.
इस चीज से मुझे दो चीजें जो मतलब मेरे क्वेश्चंस हैं, एक तो जैसे मैंने आपको पहले ही बताया था, जैसे मेरी कॉलोनी में अब क्या होता है, जो कूड़े वाले भैया लेने आते हैं वो कूड़ा नहीं लेके जाते हैं, कूड़ा सेग्रीगेटेड नहीं है,
wonderful.
उन्होंने डेज बोल दिए हैं कि ठीक है मंडे वेडनेसडे फ्राइडे आई विल कलेक्ट द वेट वेस्ट, और जो बाकी दिन है उस दिन मैं सूखा कूड़ा लेके जाता हूँ, एंड जिन लोगों ने नहीं दिया उन्होंने उस दिन उनका कूड़ा ही नहीं उठाया, तो ही सेड कि मतलब हम कैसे अलग करेंगे, एंड टू माय सरप्राइज के कुछ टाइम बाद से ही कूड़ा सेग्रीगेट होना स्टार्ट हो गया हमारी सोसाइटी में, एंड अब वो ऐसे ही कूड़ा जाता है. दिस ऑल्सो मेक्स मी रियलाइज कि क्या आपको लगता है कि हम जब गवर्नमेंट की बात करते हैं हम बहुत ब्रॉडर टर्म पे बात करते हैं, अब पार्टी इज नॉट बैड, इट्स इंडिविजुअल्स जो मतलब कुछ इंडिविजुअल्स बहुत अच्छा काम करते हैं, कुछ एमएलएज वगैरह को समझ भी नहीं आता कि हम क्या कर रहे हैं. सिमिलरली एज यू वर टॉकिंग अबाउट द ग्रीन जज, जैसे आपने अपने पोस्ट पे लिखा था, वो रिटायर हुए, मतलब उन्होंने जैसे मुझे आपसे समझ आया कि उन्होंने काफी सारा काम करा है इस एरिया में.
Trees, he's been a savior for the trees of Delhi, and Justice Najmi Waziri, he's done fantastic work. He's been a savior for trees, he's literally been a savior for the city and the future of the kids, and so that's what it is. And he also took this beautiful way of not always being aggressive and penalizing. He made this wonderful green fund, कि जो लोग जिन्होंने कोई गलती करी है तो उनको पेड़ लगाने के लिए उनसे फंड्स लेकर उनसे कैसे उनसे आगे कराया है. अभी PWD ने काफी वायलेशंस हुई उनसे, उनके ऑफिसर्स से, और वो कर रहे थे, वो हमारे बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं ग्राउंड who had to really suffer to and face the wrath of everyone, but उन्होंने गलतियों का ये नहीं कि एक पेनल्टी लगा दो, उसका कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. उन्होंने बोर्ड्स लगाए हैं जिसमें माफीनामा लिखा हुआ है, in very very prominent places of Delhi. So those kind of things that अगर आप कहोगे कि एक दिन में वो कई लोग कहेंगे क्या हो जाएगा, वो कुछ नहीं होगा, माफीनामा लगा दिया, अभी क्या है, भूल जाएंगे. हाँ भूलेंगे, वो हैं, हमें भी पता है वो भूलेंगे, लेकिन वो जब भी कोई वहां से जाएगा, ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग होंगे जो काम कर रहे हैं, जो वो इतना बड़ा बड़ा बोर्ड देखेंगे माफीनामा लिखा हुआ, वो अपनी गलती को नहीं दोहराने की कोशिश करेंगे. This is what it is. I mean, if you feel for it, you have to feel for it. And I see that now, I see that so much respect that a judge got on his retirement, so much more than the others, because that itself shows that people they want everyone to be green. They want this, but just that, I guess, it's just that nudge that needs to come in.
क्योंकि पता है ये चीज़ ना बहुत अलग लगी. जनरली हम लोग हमेशा सोचते हैं कि हम खुद को हमेशा ऑपोजिट एंड पे प्लेस कर लेते हैं गवर्नमेंट के, बट ऐसा नहीं है. लाइक एंड व्हाट आई लाइक्ड अबाउट यू इज कि यू डिडंट प्लेस योरसेल्फ एट द ऑपोजिट एंड. यू सेड कि मैं आप लोगों के साथ काम करूंगी, हम आपके साथ काम करेंगे एंड इस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करेंगे. एंड व्हाट जस्टिस द ग्रीन जज दैट यू टॉक्ड अबाउट डिड, इट्स अमेजिंग. एंड सेकेंडली, जैसे जो आप पहले हमने बात की थी कि आपने कहा कि हमें रिच को पेनलाइज करना चाहिए और पुअर्स को हमें, या फिर जो बॉटम ऑफ द पिरामिड है उन्हें हमें इंसेंटिवाइज करना चाहिए. So I heard this concept like kal I was in a talk and वहाँ पर one speaker said कि something about intergenerational sustainability. So जो resources हमारे पास हैं, जो भी हम coal की बात करते हैं for example, वो सारा coal हमारा नहीं है.
बिल्कुल.
That coal also belongs to the future generation. And he said this thing, another person said कि हम लोग बोलते हैं fossil fuels को ban कर दो. तो he said कि fossil fuels का जो परसेंटेज है ना वो कम हो जाएगा इंडिया के बास्केट में, बट ओवरऑल फॉसिल फ्यूल की वॉल्यूम बढ़ेगी. बट देन वी हैव टू सी कि हम नेट जीरो कैसे करते हैं, एंड ऑल द रिसोर्सेज जो हम यूज कर रहे हैं वो हमारे नहीं है.
Everything for that matter. Why not the air? I mean, in every ways, we all have to share it. It all has to go ahead. That's why when you say that the planet, it doesn't belong to only me. It belongs to our future and the future generations, the youngsters. So you have to understand that we have to hand it over to them in such a way that they are able to use it, not destroy it. And of course, renewable energy will have to come faster to take out the coal. I mean, that has to be prioritized. It's happening. They're doing things, but we don't want to greenwash the whole situation. So, and they're experts. I mean, after all, they're the top. That's why I say the government must lead. The top think tanks is them. The bureaucrats, the most intelligent people in all these various ministries. It's something that's we can't say it's not beyond them. They know what to do, but it must happen. The action. So one of the kids who just spoke at one of the youth programs and said something so well in such a short, and we don't want plans, we want action. So I mean, this is something so beautiful and well said. So ये सब पेपर पे ड्राफ्ट्स एंड पॉलिसी एंड न्यू कमीशंस एंड बना दिया, ये कर दिया, कमिटीज बना दिया, ये सब नहीं. ये अब it's time for action. We know, you saw this last 2 weeks were absolutely devastating. Did anyone think? I mean, we were trying to put some of the kids were trying to put all these front page headlines together. So we had already crossed like 107 main newspaper, magazine headlines of how between the flash floods, heat waves, just so many things have happened. Just 1 week of the thing. So we all have to understand that it'll reach us.
एंड द थिंग इज ना कि एक ग्रुप है जो बहुत ज्यादा सफर कर रहा है, जिसे हम वल्नरेबल ग्रुप्स कहते हैं. समवन टोल्ड मी दिस थिंग रिसेंटली कि अभी जब नैनीताल वगैरह में सिर्फ वहाँ पर भी फ्लड्स वगैरह हुए थे, तो एक स्कूल में देयर वाज अ टीचर बच्चों को पढ़ा रही थी, एंड उनको बाहर से नोटिस आता है कि ये यहाँ पर सिचुएशन खराब होने वाली है, फ्लड वगैरह आने वाला है, तो प्लीज आप स्कूल को वैकेट कर दो. एंड हाउ किड्स आर, वो सबसे पहले अपना बैकपैक करते हैं, वो छोड़ते नहीं है जगह. एंड वो बैकपैक करने के चक्कर में, निकलने के चक्कर में, दे लॉस्ट द स्पैन ऑफ टाइम and the entire school was finished. And this was a case someone told me कि because वो उसके village में हुआ था.
I also saw it on Twitter.
That girl knew about it, but all the kids were gone.
Just imagine, so scary.
And अभी floods के time पर भी मतलब हम लोग like हमें problem होती है, but we still have like a house to go to. But these people, they were displaced, और मतलब ना खाने को कुछ खाना आना साफ
naturally how will you live now? See, they always say that every time any such thing that happens, maybe it's a natural bolo, man-made disasters happens, 3 generations suffer. जिसके घर में जिसका घर तबाह हो जाता है, या जिसका कोई फैमिली में खत्म हो जाता है, उनकी 3 नस्ल सफर करती है. It's as difficult as that. So why would you want to go that? I mean, I'm not even going into the climate change, considering that I have my mandate is air pollution, and my that's what I work on. And so where we are sitting in Delhi in 2019, there was a study that every 3rd child in Delhi has damaged lungs. Now you tell me that between all of you youngsters here, one is definitely has severely damaged lungs, and the repercussions. And this is, we're talking about lungs. But air pollution is not about lungs. It's about every organ. आज के दिन में diabetes, everything has been proven. Diabetes है, asthma है, cancer है, या heart problems है, so every Alzheimer's है. Everything is connected to air pollution. So why is it that we are not still fighting the way we should be? I go out and I tell someone, in my house to feed my children. I come back and I ask them, आपने क्या खिलाया? उन्होंने बोला जहर खिलाया. तो आप क्या करोगे? उसको पकड़ के मारोगे ना? That's the thing, that you want to kill that person. And you're going to be, you will not tolerate this. So we should be that angry. And that's extremely important. Only challenge is that you don't see air. क्योंकि आप मुझे पानी आपने अभी दिया, अगर ये पानी गंदा होता तो मैं यहीं छोड़ देंगे, object to it. But because the air is invisible, we are not understanding how critical this is for our children.
And I know because you've worked on this household air pollution, like
again
indoor air pollution.
Yeah, indoor air pollution.
And uske bare mein batao. And like you told me, earlier this one place where you saw, people suffering, jo landfills वगैरह पे थे.
Yeah.
So please wo explain karo how they are suffering, and also your project Chulha that you did,
yes.
and why did you do that?
I mean, that's continuing. All our projects are continuing because they never end. The end will mean we have clean air. We still don't have it. So it's never. So yes, Chulha was, of course, a very important aspect of indoor house pollution, where, small homes of slums and these, small barrack homes where you don't even have good ventilation, and then you burn coal or wood to because you don't have the LPG or other clean and resources. So that is what we were trying to work. The last year, we wrote first time at the budget session to the MPs and trying to tell them to, raise this issue. So again, I said that we cannot raise. You cannot just write everywhere and on the social media and think that somebody's listening. You will have to go explain to them, tell them why it is and how many households suffer, or how many women get affected, how many children get affected, those kind of things that, that data. So, we took it up. And then after that, about, 5,000 mothers across the country, they signed these and wrote lovely messages and to the ministry here, to the Ministry of Renewable Energy. They wanted LPG. And unfortunately, after COVID, the LPG has been just going higher, the pricing. So even the ones who had an LPG cylinder through the Pradhan Mantri, Ujjwala Yojana, they couldn't refill it, because it's, most homes where we were going and, doing these little questionnaires and understanding the situation, it become a flower pot, or somebody's just made it a little, seating thing, because they can't afford it anymore. So these are things that are very important, because we know even in a household, in an elite home, one of ours, where we have good ventilation, you'll be surprised that you make one paratha and how the AQI shoots up, the PM 2.5. When you're seeing the monitor, it's it's even difficult to convince your own mothers and family. And so
women are more vulnerable.
Women are, because obviously they're cooking, but these the underprivileged homes, everybody gets affected because वो जगह इतनी limited है और वहाँ पर बच्चे भी हैं, जो भी है उस घर में है. Of course, women are cooking, so they are mostly if they are the main cooking. Yes, like you said, is very important, and we'll continue to fight this and bring this issue always on the forefront. And let's see.
आपका आर्टिकल मैंने पढ़ा था इसका चूल्हा वाले पे, and one thing which I like to bring here is उसमें लिखा था कि when you guys were there, तो वहाँ पर जब वो लकड़ियाँ जलाते हैं तो उसके अंदर उन्होंने एक दूध का प्लास्टिक का पैकेट डाल रखा था.
Yeah, true.
And आप लोगों को ने मना करना पड़ा कि मत करो, because this is like inviting cancer to your home.
Absolutely.
And then वो समझे, फिर उन्होंने sorting करी.
And coming from there to the landfills like Bhalswa, one of the landfills here that we work, closely through Chintan also. Chintan does this wonderful, they're partners, and they do a lot of work on waste management. So we learn from them. And so these people who are actually living. So can you imagine this toxic air that we are living in? And then on top of that, they are breathing that methane and all the chemicals and toxicity living on top of the landfills. So it's very, very unfair. And
why would they live on the top of the landfill?
Because they are mostly waste collectors, and these are the end waste collectors who are actually taking out even the waste that they can sell from there, making their living. This is what it is. I mean, it seems so easy, but just when it comes on the ground, everything is so different. And then, last year with the fires, I mean, every year there are fires, and whatever they had collected got burnt. So that is the kind of challenge that, one goes through. living in this kind of state. And there are children, there are also, again, women, and they're all suffering. There are many, again, quotes and stories and people who come ahead and speak about this, which is beautiful because they understand that there is air pollution. So, in fact, somebody just said that, one of the women there, she says, she was telling others, COVID में लोगों ने मास्क पहना है, हम तो कितना 20-25 साल से पहन रहे हैं. Because वहाँ पे when they work, they've been kind of told, because they said we can't breathe, so they wear masks.
That's so true. And no, like ये सुन के मतलब please correct me if I'm wrong. मतलब हम लोग अपने साइड से हमारा जो जितना भी हम कंज्यूम करते हैं, it has to be conscious consumption. हम क्या फेंक रहे हैं कूड़े में, we have to be sure कि क्या जा रहा है कूड़े की बाल्टी में. सेकेंडली, यहाँ पर हमें इकोसिस्टम अप्रोच चाहिए. मतलब मुझे एग्जैक्टली नहीं याद, बट रिसेंटली मैंने कुछ देखा था कि भोपाल में उन लोगों ने अपनी जो काफ़ी बड़ी लैंडफिल्स को पार्ट्स करे, एंड एक पूरा लैंडफिल का पार्ट उन्होंने गायब कर दिया. लाइक दे मेड अप पिट, उस पिट के अंदर उन लोगों ने प्लास्टिक की लाइनिंग करी, वहाँ से कुछ पाइपलाइंस वगैरह लगा के वहाँ के गैशियस फ्यूम्स वगैरह सब कुछ निकाला. एंड डूइंग दैट मतलब उनको काफ़ी बड़े अमाउंट का फ़ायदा हुआ था एज अ स्टेट. आपको लगता है कि हमारे पास ये सारी टेक्नोलॉजीज हैं, और अगर हैं आज की टाइम में हम खुद को इतना एडवांस्ड मानते हैं, तो ये इम्प्लीमेंट क्यों नहीं हो रही? लाइक क्या फंडिंग नहीं है, या फिर व्हाट इज द सिचुएशन लाइक?
Well, I think it's the intent. First of all, you have to have a clear intent, and don't make this a money making racket, because anytime there's commercialization, then again आपने एक चीज यहाँ से तो उठा के उधर कर दी, पर फिर वो, see, we have to work on all the sources of pollution. This is the only way to remove, air pollution and bring back clean air. If you will bring these gadgets and things like smog towers and these kind of solutions of trommel machines on the landfills, it's not going to work. Permanent solution is कि अगर आपने trommel machine से आप लगा के वहाँ से रोज आप वहाँ कूड़ा कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उससे ज्यादा कूड़ा रोज मिक्स्ड वहाँ पे आ रहा है, उसको आप इंसिनरेट कर रहे हैं, तो there's no purpose of doing that. तो सबसे पहले आपको अपना सेग्रीगेशन, वेस्ट सेग्रीगेशन एट सोर्स करना है, उसको उसके जो बायलॉज हैं उनको स्ट्रिक्टली इम्प्लीमेंट करना है, ताकि ना ऑटोमेटिकली जो वेट वेस्ट है वो जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी है वो वहीं पर ही कॉम्पोस्ट होगा, या वहीं पर ही वो यूज होगा, वो बाहर नहीं निकलेगा. सो दिस इज द वे. It may sound simpler than what it is, but then that's what the job is, and they'll have to find ways to do it. We're already very late you can't have a waste to energy plants where in the middle of cities and resident colonies like one we have here, and there's so much violation. The people are suffering and they're fighting for over 10 years, 12 years, for this toxicity that they have to live in. It's not fair. We cannot allow that. That's why all these, like I keep repeating, maybe I'm saying this so many times, but it's okay to have policies and laws when we say, okay, fine, we, with respect, we honor those laws, but please implement them. That's what we need to demand, local authorities.
And I think आपने like कहीं डाला था कि जिससे भोपाल गैस ट्रेजेडी के बारे में, and it was last 2022 का पोस्ट था, which said कि 38 years and people are still suffering now. I think 39. तो मतलब what was the context कि it has been so many years, but people are still looking for justice. Kya justice? Matlab,
justice is, of course, that is a very, very, sad what happened with the, the Union Carbide, and without getting into the details of that. But see how the generations, this is a perfect example of how generations suffer. This is also, dealing with a chemical poisoning. It is a toxicity that has, brought, and the generations that have come after that, there's so many children are affected. They are, not normal. They have these various symptoms and problems that even this generation will suffer probably. So just compare that to the air pollution. If you have say, now we're saying every third child has damaged lungs. So just wait till we come to the youth when they become older, and that. So do we want a crippled youth? Do we want that all the money that we have, or we are looking at a $3 trillion dollar economy? Are we looking that to spend only on health and on, repairing the lungs of our children? So if no economy can flourish without healthy youth. That is one thing that absolutely it's as simple as that. So it's so important to kind of curb it and stop it right here, rather than going and then saying that, okay, because I always say this, prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
If you're waiting for that cure, there'll be a lot of damage and a lot more money that you'll be spending.
And do you think like because Delhi comes under one of the most polluted cities in the
Yeah.
world, आपको लगता है कि ये situation कभी reverse हो पाएगी?
Yeah, of course.
What makes you hopeful?
Yeah, of course. Everything can, there's nothing that is not. I mean, the fact that so many of us, you and I, have connected, people like us who are coming together, we are asking, demanding, the governments are talking, they are no more in denial, from 1990s to now. It's all hope. Yes, it should get better, but everyone will have to be committed to the cause. That where does money and all these all these things of temptations of commercialization overtake your children's health? Nobody wants that. I think when it comes to our children, everyone will want to. I mean, that's what we were reminding the cops, and every time we were there, as mothers and as parents, at the COP27, COP26, at the Stockholm summit, we kept reminding the politicians that you're parents too. So we are all parents, and I don't think there's anything more important than our children's health and their well-being. So this is it, and I just say that every time you take a decision, anyone who does that just thinks, okay, what is this going to cost my children? And you'll get an answer.
My last question to you is that because you have led so many public movements, what have been some of your like favorite movements that you've led, या फिर कोई ऐसे बहुत ही specific example या memories आपके पास हो किसी movement से?
I know. I mean, my right to breathe is very close to my heart because that was the first clean air movement ever. Many of us, Ravina and Jayadhar, and we were all together in this, and I think it's very close to my heart. But if you're saying the Delhi Trees SOS is the one where, so when they were, they had almost started cutting the trees on the Sarojini Nagar and the Netaji Nagar stretch. And there was this one day, then everybody had to be at the court, and it was a very hot day. We had taken the children also because every day we were protesting. Every day, the protest was on for 2 months over there every day. So the JCBs had come, and now we were scared that if we move from here, and we go to because of limited people, and we go to the courts, they will start cutting, and we don't know what's going to happen, and we are standing. So we had our children, including my girls, and they all climbed the trees and they stayed there. And there were many journalists there, from various, lovely girls. Now most of them are studying now NDTV and Aaj Tak, and I came back after some of us came back after about 5-6 hours, and they were still there. They didn't go. They said we were so scared, we didn't want to leave the children here. And the kids kept sitting on the trees and waiting, up and down, and they stayed there and protected the trees. So I think that is something which has really been in my mind. And I see a lot of youngsters who were there that day. They were much younger, and today they are doing so much. In fact, one of them is just going to the deer park right now. If you know, the deer park is being also now in the different things. So I'm just saying that they are so involved with the various local issues of for trees and for the parks and for the forests that it's truly a citizen movement.
And what would be your message to all the mothers out there?
Yeah, every mother will have to jump in. I always say it's we have to jump into the fire if we want to save our children and their future. There is no choice about it, and the science is saying it so clearly, and now we're seeing it also. We thought we'll see it a few years later. It started beginning to happen now. None of us want to see our children's lung cancer reports. I know. And I just hope none of us have to.
And the situation is still reversible. Like we can
absolutely.
Because when we see at examples like London, it was one of the most polluted cities.
Yes,
but today it's like one of the most cleanest cities.
That's where I started. My research started 1990s when I was reading about the smog of London. That's what I was mainly, learning from. Yes, you're so right, Shweta. It's absolutely doable, and of course, and it's very important that the governments are not going to listen until it becomes an electoral issue. And for it to become an electoral issue, citizens will have to demand. We have to demand clean air. Until we don't demand, we are not going to get it.
Thank you, Bhavreen, for being here. What I liked is that you're not just demanding action. One is where we just stand up and we just start demanding कि यार ये कर दो वो कर दो, but you're also doing things. For example, the SOPs that you've created, the Chulha project you talked about. I also know that you did jhola making workshops, composting workshops, and many other things. So I think that is the right example for advocacy. That act and also demand, also hold accountable. So that's so true. And thank you for this. Thank you for coming here. And I hope we see that blue skies very soon, specifically in Delhi.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shweta. Thank you for including warrior moms in your
Thank
conversation.
you.
Thank you.